regreso aquí en Auto 060, and again we're gonna switch to English because this is one of my favorite parts of the show when I get to share all the information and cool things that we do with my colleagues. So Michelle Naranjo, editor-in-chief of Autobytel. How are you, Michelle?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. So Happy New Year. I think we can still say that all through January, at least through the Detroit Auto Show. So yeah. So it's gonna go fast again, as always is, especially with the auto show season that starts next week in Detroit. But before we do that, I wanted to share all the information that it's in autobytel.com with our audience. And Michelle, I draws my attention to the Car Year Award from Autobytel. So can you tell us a little bit about first the process? I mean, first a little bit for people who don't know what Autobytel is, and then go a little bit into the process of how do you choose the best cars of the year?
Sure. Well, Autobytel was actually started in 1996 as the first automotive research site on the internet. It was the very first that provided a way for people to be able to go in, read about cars, see pictures of cars, and then they can submit a lead to a dealer, get a price quote, that kind of thing. They can look at used car inventory on there. We've been doing these awards now for 3 years, and what we do is we get all of our editors to nominate 3 cars each in each category, and there's 11 main categories. We actually combine minivans and station wagons together. And then once we get all of those nominations, we take the top 3 out of each category, and then we vote on which is the best out of that category. And so then we get our category winners. And then we pick the ones with the overall number of votes in the cars category, so luxury cars, sedans, compacts, all of those, and convertibles. That becomes the car of the year, and then same thing in the truck and SUV categories, and that becomes our truck of the year.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot to pick from, and it's tough because basically there aren't any bad cars anymore, right? I always say this, but it's true, and I think people who are looking into buying cars and all that should know that. There are different trims of cars, but basically there isn't a bad car anymore, I don't think.
Absolutely, there's really not a bad car, and because of the resurgence of the industry in the last 3 years, there are so many new excellent cars.
Yeah. So can we go? You have a lot, but let's try to pick the best from your list. So why don't you go on the best overall, I guess, and then we'll go through the other categories a little bit.
Okay. So our best overall is kind of an interesting story. It ended up being the Jaguar F-Type and the Land Rover Range Rover, and that's kind of an incredible double headline from a single company. That really shows how Jaguar Land Rover has had a comeback. For a British manufacturer that wasn't doing so well, they've really come back strong. And both cars, the car and the Range Rover, are fantastic.
Yeah, I had a chance to drive both, and actually I think we were in some of the press events for those 2 cars, and yeah, I agree with you. Especially the F-Type is such an improvement from whatever they had before this model. It's just amazing. I drove the high performance model recently, and I was just stunned. And everybody looks at it, and everybody likes it, and the roar of the engine and every single detail in that car is amazing.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. And we actually had a few people ask us why Corvette didn't win Car of the Year, and it's kind of interesting why. What happened with the Jaguar F-Type this year was it won our convertible Car of the Year category, but it also had votes in Sports Car of the Year and Luxury Car of the Year. It placed in the top 3 in Sports Car of the Year as well, which actually put it above the total number of votes, and it beat the Stingray for the Car of the Year.
Yeah, and they're coming up with a coupe, so maybe it's going to be a tough decision for next year, but that's another story, I guess. So you said there were what were the other 2 cars in the top 3 for the best car overall in Autobytel.com?
It was, excuse me, we had, let's see, the Jaguar F-Type,
maybe I guess the Corvette, since you said some people were asking about it, right?
Yep, it was the Corvette, and then the other one was let me think which one it was. I think it might have been because that one we actually don't rank the top 3 in the overall, but I think that one was the S8.
Oh yeah, okay. So the F-Type are the best car overall, and then the truck, the Range Rover Sport. I mean, really, really. I mean, I completely agree with you guys. So let's go to another other categories that stand out. Like for example, sedan of the year, the Mazda 6. Mazda is another company that has come up like in a huge way recently.
Absolutely. And what's interesting about the Mazda is that it beat two cars that are, I guess you could call them aspirational luxury cars, but I think the manufacturers actually consider them luxury cars, right? The Kia Cadenza and the Buick Regal GS, both fantastic cars. I think that Kia is one of the best looking cars on the road right now. But the Mazda came out on top, and the Mazda is absolutely great looking as well.
Yeah, and it's something that it's very interesting to me. Like I think the gap between like the regular brands, in case of, for example, like Toyota and Lexus, Nissan, Infiniti, and Honda and Acura, I think the gap between the regular car and the luxury car is like shrinking very, very fast. And and again with Mazdas, I think like the level of not only performance and detail, I mean luxury-wise, I think you get a lot for the money.
Absolutely. People have come to expect a lot when they're spending money on a car. And, you know, when you can get something like a Nissan Versa Note with that, you know, with technology that you have in an Infiniti, it's really, that gap is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah. So, Truck of the Year, Ram 1500, which seems to be winning every single award there is.
I know. It actually won last year for us as well. And it's just a great truck. You know, it's so aggressive looking, and it's you know, very handsome. It beat out the Silverado and the Sierra, which of course are the twins. They're basically the same pickup with just a little bit different look going to them. I think the exciting thing going to be coming up this year is, of course, next week we're going to see the new F-150, and then I think the Ram's going to have something to. It's going to have to work a little harder.
Yeah. But I think for the F-150, we're not going to actually see much, because like the cool thing or the newest thing for that car is the structure of the car, which is going to be all aluminum, which is going to obviously improve all the numbers because of the reduce of weight and all that. But I mean, yeah, it's going to be, and it's very astonishing when you think about like the F-150 is the most sold vehicle in the States for like 36 years. So tough competition there.
Absolutely, and it's, you know, the great thing about these trucks is, like our pickup truck of the year 2 years ago was the F-150 EcoBoost, and that kind of changed everything in the truck world, because suddenly that really the truck that got great gas mileage and more towing power.
Yeah. So another category that is, I guess is very hot and is one of the fastest growing segments in the industry, crossover, Subaru Forester. I mean, Subaru not only put out like great press events like you and me experienced in Iceland last year, but I mean the product is amazing. To think that they're selling more cars than Volkswagen, it's really amazing. It's
mind-blowing. But the Forester, it's just it's that favorite car that people go to over and over again. It's, you know, we have a very good relationship with Subaru at Autobytel, because one of the things that we do is we, you know, connect dealers with buyers. And sometimes buyers, you know, might get in touch with a dealer and they decide to switch brands or they go to a different model or whatever. Subaru buyers, when they get in contact with a dealer, have like the highest rate of actually buying a Subaru. They're incredibly loyal and passionate about the brand.
Yeah, and a funny thing, of kind of curious thing with Subaru is that it used to be that those cars were very popular in the West Coast, in Colorado, in like where you really needed four-wheel drive vehicles. But now I think they're like becoming more popular because, I mean, just like the cars are fantastic and the value of it with or without four-wheel drive is fantastic. The Crosstrek that we tried in Iceland was amazing, I think. I think it's going to be in your list next year.
Absolutely. It was so capable, and it was, you know, the fun thing about the Forester, I think we did that event together too, was that when it has they now have the turbo option. So now it's not just that family car, it's that fun-to-drive family car where it has a lot of zip to it.
Yeah. So you also have awards for the Audi S8, which is kind of surprising because the Mercedes-Benz S-Class came in this year too, and I mean it's pretty good car. So what was the thinking behind that?
You know, that was the votes were incredibly close in that category. I couldn't believe it. I thought that if I could have predicted, I would have said the S-Class would have won. But in the end, the S8 actually ended up getting more votes. And I think, like we were talking about that shrinking gap, the level of in luxury of how amazing these cars are becoming is putting them all pretty close together.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So, Michelle, believe it or not, we're running out of time. We have like less than a minute left. So, can you tell our audience what else can they find in Autobytel.com and what cool things do you do there?
Sure. At Autobytel.com, we have we do daily news, we do car buying guides, we do a lot of fun articles that are, the best cars to get married in Las Vegas and stuff like that. But we do a lot of serious research and reviews. We try to drive all of the important cars that people are shopping for and write, full reviews and do photo galleries so people can actually get an experience of what it is that they're looking at and make a decision.
Excellent. And so Autobytel, you said like they can get not only the information but also get like direct links to the dealerships nearby where they live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Michelle Naranjo from Autobytel.com, and I hope we can share more experiences this year in 2014, picking up the cars that are gonna appear in your list next year for all the awards that you pick. And it's gonna be a tough job again because I think there's a lot of good cars coming up for 2015, right? It's confusing.
Absolutely. I know it's hard to say 2015. I can't get the habit.
Okay, thank you very much, Michelle Naranjo, Chief Editor for Autobytel.com. Esto es Auto 060, esto es Cristina Radio Network. Ya regresamos con el siguiente segmento.